Hi there. So I was asked an absolutely brilliant question regarding kissing spines. So the question was, does compensation cause kissing spines? And the question was in specific reference to saddles, saddle fit, and the change of their horse's profile over their back, and therefore, alteration of the actual sort of weight distribution and the balance of it. It is a very long answer, so I thought rather than actually typing it out, I would answer it in a video message. I've just pulled over. I am between clients in Devon at the moment, and just putting my thoughts really out to you. So, does compensation cause kissing spines? Well, let's go back a step and think about what kissing spines is. So in the horse's back, we know that we have the spinous processes that project upwards dorsally, and they are bony columns, and ideally there should be gaps in between them. And when we've got kissing spines, those gaps narrow and they can get to the stage where the actual spinous processes sort of overlap, and then that's overriding dorsal spinous processes. So anything that creates closeness between those spinous processes can then lead to kissing spines. If you've got really broad and wide spinous processes, your conformation is such that you're born without much space between them, then it's going to be easier for them to get closer, impinge and sort of rub on each other. So if we have a compensatory movement for whatever reason, be it back pain or be it lameness, then those spinous processes are at risk of being put closer together, because if the back stiffens and the movement reduces, you will sort of the movement between them into flexion, so that you lift and gap between those spinous processes and you end up in a more extended hollowed position where the space between them reduces, then you are likely to increase the risk of kissing spines. In our riding horse, we want them to be able to lift up through the back and carry us, and that requires a flexion and the back being able to be held in flexion. So we know from research that if we have back pain, we are more likely to have an extended position. We've got that from sort of clinical evidence, but also a study where they injected saline to irritate the muscles of the back, and they found that the back went into extension. We also know that if we've got lameness, then we are going to have a change of how the back movements as well. And that has been reproduced in a few studies where there is induced lameness into either the fore or the hind limbs, and it alters the way the back moves. So we are pretty sure that there is a link between the pain and extension of the back, and therefore extrapolating that out into increasing the risk of kissing spines. So where do saddles fit in? Well, the issue with saddles is if they are unbalanced and they are moving, or they are, for instance, if they're too wide and they're dropping down behind the shoulder blades and lifting up at the back, and are unstable, or too narrow and pinching through the withers, and the weight of the rider is then tipped back to the back of the saddle, we are going to have a mechanical effect on the spine, and then also we are at risk of having pressure problems, which then create pain. So if we've got a mechanical effect, the horse will try and adapt to that, and they will perhaps have sort of some muscles that work over hard, so they're overactive and what we call hypertonicic, and then we have some that are perhaps inhibited, so they are switched off, and then don't work so hard. So the mechanics of how the back moves changed. If we've got a pressure distribution where there is increased pressure on the back of the saddle, we know also from another study that adding weight to the spine of the horse causes the back to extend already. So then if we put all that weight into one area through the back of the saddle, then we're more likely to have extension and dropping of the back, and then those spinous processes become closer together. So whilst we don't have scientific evidence that looks at these factors longitudinally, i.e. the horse over the stage of a year or 2 years or 5 years to actually link these specific causes. There is real sort of plausibility that if we work a horse an extended back posture, either because it's compensating or perhaps because of our poor training methods, we are likely to increase the risk of kissing spines. And anything that we can do to encourage the horse to lift up through their back, remain in either a neutral or a lifted flexed position whilst we have weight on their back, is going to have benefits in the short term and also in the long term. So a long-winded way of answering the question that absolutely yes, any sort of compensation, any sort of abnormal movement, any increase in extension of the back is likely to unfortunately increase the risk of kissing spines. So I hope that answers the question. And obviously any thoughts or any discussion points, pop them in the comments below, or if you want to contact me individually, then please do send me a message. Okay, have a great day. Bye.